Hi everybody, welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles with my longtime co-host, Jim Hughes.
Yes, with Terry Stiles, another edition.
Another edition of Oxford News This Week. And in the news this week, be careful. It's motorcycle season. And Behind the Lens is ready to roll, and the race is on. All that and more, the Oxford News begins right now. It's motorcycle season, so make sure you keep a special eye out for the one-lighted vehicles among us. Last week, an Orion Township man died in Oxford Township after he collided with a Toyota Corolla driven by 54-year-old Farmington man. Witnesses say the 66-year-old Alan Hagedorn was traveling southbound on North Lapeer Road when the Corolla driver stopped at the flashing signal and then turned south in front of the motorcycle. Paramedics from Oxford Fire Department transported Hagedorn to the hospital where he did pass. The Farmington man was treated for minor injuries and released. The accident is still under investigation. Please be aware of motorcycle traffic among us. Jim?
And the race is set for the Oxford Township Board of Trustees. After not filing for re-election, the incumbent trustee Marge Payne will leave the seat for anyone who wishes to run for the township. With 6 candidates running for the 4 open trustee positions on the township board, voters will cast their ballots in the upcoming election on August 6th. That's a primary election. The 4 candidates who receive the most votes will move on to the November 5th general election, where they will unlikely run unopposed unless someone else runs as a write-in or independent candidate. No Democrats have filed to run in the election. There are also seats up for election for representatives in the Congress, State Representative, County Commissioner, and the Oxford Parks Commission and Oxford Public Library Board. Trustee August candidates for the Oxford Village Council and Oxford Community Schools Board of Education are nonpartisan and will appear on the November 5th general election ballot. Candidates have up until July 6th to file for those positions. Oxford Township Board of Trustees. For more information, you can visit the Oakland County Elections Division, and that website below me here, oakgov.com/government. Terry.
During last month's Oxford Community School Board meeting, elementary principal Jeff Brown presented a plan for next year to address current student absentee rates. Brown compared attendance numbers before COVID and after. For the year 2018-2019 school year, the average attendance rate was nearly 96%, with 2 students below the truancy rate, which is 80%. In 2023-24, the school year, the attendance rate is nearly 93%, with 9 students below the truancy rate. Brown said that he will do a lunch club with the students who have excessive absences. Let's hope they get those few on the right track. Their education is just as important as any other. Jim?
In a sad story, a missing Independence Township woman was found dead last Monday after 3 days of search by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. According to the post on the Sheriff's Office Facebook page, around 2 p.m. on Monday, authorities found the woman, who was previously identified as 38-year-old Lacey Nicole Santia in Waterford Oaks County Park. According to the news release from the Sheriff's Office, Santia's family reported her missing on Saturday morning, telling authorities that they were concerned about her emotional state. Deputies were able to locate Santia's unoccupied vehicle on Saturday in the parking lot of the county park with the key still in the ignition. The Sheriff's Office deployed the drone unit, search and rescue team, and the K9 unit and aviation unit, and also worked with the Waterford Township Police Department, United States Border Patrol, Metro Parks Police Search and Rescue Team. But none of the searches and tracking yielded any results. The Sheriff's Office resumed search on Sunday and then again on Monday when her body was finally located. Terry.
The Oxford High School shooter was transferred to a protective custody unit in northwestern Michigan after he turned 18 and had altercations with other prisoners. He was transferred from an under 18 unit in Lapeer to the Michigan Department of Corrections up north for a variety of reasons, including notoriety of the inmate, former employees of law enforcement, and prisoners who make verifiable requests for additional protection, according to the Department of Corrections spokesperson Kyle Kaminsky. The shooter is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole after pleading guilty to killing 4 of his classmates and wounding 7 others on November 30th, 2021. Jim?
Anyone that's ever driven on Baldwin Road, well, you know Baldwin Road is graced with multiple roundabouts. Love them or hate them, roundabouts can be found in almost every corner of our state these days. Reaching out to public and social media this past week, the state police, Michigan State Police, reminding motorists on how to properly navigate these occasional troublesome traffic circles. In the listing, Michigan State Police lists the following steps when approaching a roundabout. Number 1, slow your speed as you approach. Number 2, check and yield to oncoming traffic. Number 3, don't stop if there aren't any vehicles in your path. Number 4, when clear, continue through. Number 5, exit by using your turn signals. Also, number 6, allow larger vehicles, aka semi-trucks, both lanes. Number 7, if you do all that, you'll have success in a roundabout. Terry?
In national news, in case you missed it, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration is moving forward classifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. The Justice Department proposal would recognize the medical uses of cannabis, but would not legalize it for recreational use. The proposal would move marijuana from the Schedule I group to the less tightly regulated Schedule III group. The proposal must be reviewed by the White House Office of Management and Budget and then undergo a public comment period and review then from an administrative judge, a potentially lengthy process. Still, the switch is considered a paradigm shift and exciting, according to Portland, Oregon-based cannabis and psychedelics attorney Vince Sawakowski, who runs a well-known legal blog on the topic. Jim?
And in our Behind the Lens segment, a shout out going to the Oxford Bike Shop for doing such a wonderful job turning up the 3 bicycles, or I should say tuning, not turning up, tuning the bicycles up, utilized by the deputies at the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, the Oxford Township substation. The bikes are looking good, ready for patrol duty in our parks and neighborhoods and our community events along the Pollyant Trail. Again, we want to thank the bike shop, again pictured here, Sergeant Eric Daughtery. The Oxford Bike Shop is located at 18 North Washington Street. And again, to learn more about maybe getting your bike tuned up, you can actually log on. They have a website. We were there when they opened up, oxfordbikeshop.com. Their number 248-572-4558. Again, the best way to thank them probably is, they did this out of their own goodness.
Out of the goodness of their own heart.
And
yeah.
hey, that bike shop looks like a nice little place to be.
Yeah, it's kind of tucked out of the way, so we need to give it more recognition and more kudos. They're doing well. They've been there for about a year or so, and you're right, we were there when they opened, and what a cool place.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's
really
giving
is.
back to the community. I mean, small business doing that's hard in this time anyway.
Yep. Agreed.
Well, coming up, we're looking forward to this. Terry Stiles will have what we will call it a sure sign of spring and summer. Up next, Dave Kenny. He'll have Auto Talk and Science in the News. This newscast will roll on, and I'll stop back with some sports. A lot to unpack in the sports world. You're watching this edition of Oxford News This Week.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. U.S. safety regulators finalized a rule that would require automatic emergency braking systems on all passenger cars and light trucks by 2029. The rule, finalized by NHTSA on April 29th, would require all vehicles to be equipped with automatic braking systems that would stop and avoid a collision with another car at speeds up to 62 miles an hour. The rule is part of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, which directed federal regulators to adapt minimum performance standards relating to automatic emergency braking. Braking systems must apply automatically at speeds up to 90 miles an hour when a collision with an oncoming vehicle is imminent, and 45 miles per hour when the system detects a pedestrian, the final rule says. Automatic emergency braking is proven to save lives and reduce serious injuries from frontal crashes, and this technology is now mature enough to require it in all new cars and light trucks. In fact, the technology is now so advanced that we're requiring these systems to be even more effective at higher speeds and to detect pedestrians. That was Sophie Schulman at NHTSA Deputy Administrator said in a statement. NHTSA estimates the rule will save 360 lives and prevent 24,000 injuries annually. The systems will also be required to detect pedestrians in both daylight and nighttime conditions, the final rule said. This rule will set a vital baseline for every new car on the road, William Wallace, Associate Director of Safety Policy for Consumer Reports, said in a statement. People should be able to trust that the life-saving technology on their car is going to be there for them when they need it, and that's what this rule will accomplish, he said. He added, these requirements are strong, but they're also clearly feasible for automakers to meet, so we urge automakers to step up and meet the rule's minimum standards without delay. To the extent a company provides an even greater level of protection, such as by reliably detecting bicyclists and motorcyclists, we stand ready to make sure consumers know about it. Consumer Reports said it has made recommendations to NHTSA on how to develop the rule and ensure that it delivers strong safety benefits for consumers. The organization said it submitted a petition signed by more than 24,000 individual consumers urging NHTSA to finalize the strongest possible requirements. Congress had directed NHTSA in the 2021 infrastructure law to create a rule to establish minimum performance standards for AAB systems, which use sensors and cameras and radar to detect when a vehicle is close to crashing and then automatically applies brakes if the driver has not done so. NHTSA in 2023 had proposed requiring nearly all vehicles to comply 3 years after publication, but automakers are now being given 5 years. U.S. traffic deaths fell 3.6% in 2023, the second straight yearly decline, but they remain above pre-pandemic levels. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Back with you on Oxford News this week. A lot of sports here to unpack. Spring sports definitely going going to be wrapping up shortly. The Oxford varsity baseball team lost to Stony Creek 2-0. The team sits 9-1 in the season and 3-8 in the OAA Red League play. Again, last week, Lake Orion and Oxford. Lake Orion came to town for a 3-game series. The game we covered, actually, Oxford lost that one. That one's actually going to be broadcast this week. I won't spoil the score, but you might want to catch that on OCTV. The Oxford JV baseball team, they came from a behind beat to Stony Creek at 10-9 on the season. The team is 14-2-1 with a 9-1 mark in league play. Freshman baseball, the team went 0-1-1 in the doubleheader with Stony Creek with a 7-7 tie and a 10-8 loss. The team is 4-6-1 in the league while being 11-7-1 overall. That freshman team will get better over the years. Over to lacrosse, we cover some of this as well. Varsity, the Oxford varsity lacrosse team went on the road, beat Bloomfield Hills 14-4. They are now 7-5 on the season, 3-1 in the OAA White League play. JV lacrosse, boys lacrosse, that team beat Bloomfield Hills 11-4 on the road. They are 7-3-2 on the season and are 2-1-1 in league play. Hey, let's keep it on the lacrosse field. The ladies had a chance. That team beat West Bloomfield at 10-5 at home. They are now 5-2 in the OAA White League play with 6-7 overall. JV girls on the lacrosse field, that team tied West Bloomfield at 4-4 at home. They are now 3-3-2 on this season. Now we jump over to the softball field. The ladies there, softball team lost 2 games to Rochester Adams, 13-4 on that first one, 6-1 in the second. They are 6-7 on the season, 0-2 in league play. Tennis court, well, hey, they were playing there as well. In tennis, the Oxford girls varsity tennis team defeated Waterford Mott on the road 7-1. They are now 8-2 on the season while remaining 5-1 in the OAA Blue League. Again, good to see the ladies doing good on the courts. Hey, keeping it on the tennis court, Oxford JV girls team lost to Farmington 5-2. This week, they rebounded back with a 7-0 win over Royal Oak. They are now 3-5 on the season. And not to be outdone, I tell you, it was a lot of sports this past week, last 2 weeks. Track and field boys varsity, the boys varsity track team lost a dual meet to Lake Orion, 75-53. They are now 0-3 in the OAA Red League dual meets on the season. Oxford girls, the girls varsity track and field team lost a dual meet to Lake Orion as well, 86-42. They are now 0-3 in the OAA Red, and that league dual meets on the season. And again, that wraps it up in sports. Very heavy-packed sports broadcast there. Some of those contests can and will be seen on OCTV. I urge you to stay tuned. Coming up in our last story of the day, that'll be at the end of this newscast, Terry Stiles will have what we'll call a sure sign of spring and summer to come. We'll be back with more on Oxford News this week.
Military families often sacrifice precious time away from loved ones while serving our country. And for those with children, the separation can be especially difficult.
We were worried that with him leaving, that she would lose those connections with her dad.
Some of life's best moments happen between parents, children, and the pages of a good book. United Through Reading provides that connection.
You can watch your mom or dad read a book to you, and it almost feels like they're really there.
We ensure they remain a consistent, meaningful part of their children's lives, no matter the distance.
Just seeing Jacob recognize Daddy again after a long time just melted my heart.
And now, as we're facing greater isolation from our loved ones, United Through Reading is also available to veterans. Learn more about United Through Reading and download our free secure app at unitedthroughreading.org.
When a crisis hits, close to home and across the globe, nonprofits are on the front lines, ready to serve.
Keep coming.
The demand for charitable services has skyrocketed, and nonprofits are rising to meet the needs. Healing, nurturing, rescuing, honoring, protecting, caring, inspiring. The work of philanthropic organizations of all sizes, across all missions, has never been more important. and it's donors and volunteers like you who make all this possible. Thank you. Together, we change the world. The Nonprofit Alliance.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Getting angry, even for just a few minutes, can change the functioning of your blood vessels, which may make heart attacks and strokes more likely. The finding could explain why some people experience these events during emotional outbursts. The result comes from a study in young adults who seem to be in good health. The participants were asked to think about past experiences that made them angry while various aspects of their circulatory health was measured. Perhaps unsurprisingly, none of them had a heart attack or stroke during this process, but they did experience impaired blood vessel functioning that has been linked to such outcomes. This suggests that intense emotions could contribute to cardiac events in people who already have poor health, says Daiichi Shimbo at Columbia University in New York. Other kinds of research have suggested that heart attacks could be triggered by intense emotional experiences. For instance, one study found that in the hour before a heart attack, people were more than twice as likely to have experienced anger or emotional upset as during the same hour-long period the previous day. But the mechanism behind this remains unclear. To investigate, Shimbo and his colleagues took 280 volunteers and randomly assigned them to undergo one of three experiences or different experiences that induce either anger, anxiety, or sadness for 8 minutes, or just count upwards until the time had elapsed as a comparison while various measurements were taken. These included taking blood samples, looking at their blood pressure, and measuring the capacity of their blood vessels to dilate in response to a standard procedure where blood flow to the arm is restricted and then allowed to return. Such dilation capacity is thought to be a measure of the blood vessel health, with lower dilation capacity having been linked to higher chance of heart attacks. In the study, people who were asked to think and speak about a recent experience that made them angry had a fall in their blood vessel dilation capacity that lasted for about 40 minutes. It is possible that these effects occur routinely throughout the day or week with potentially long-term consequences, the researchers wrote in their paper. Repeated episodes of a negative emotion may affect cardiovascular physiology over time, causing irreversible damage. The blood vessel response didn't happen for people assigned to the anxiety or sadness experiences or for those in the control group, and there was no difference for any of the groups in other measurements. The effects of anger on blood vessels functioning fit with observations that heart attacks occasionally seem to be triggered by intense emotions, says Andrew Steptoe at University College in London. However, it isn't necessarily easy for people to stop getting angry, he says. If people have serious problems, there are anger management interventions, but it's quite difficult for some of these emotions to modify them very well. Glenn Levine at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas says, while not all the mechanisms on how psychological states impact cardiovascular health have been elucidated, this study clearly takes us one step closer to defining such mechanisms. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. Stay calm. I'm Dave Kenny.
Women are bad with money.
That's what the world's been saying for centuries.
But now, we've got something to say. Save it. Save the old-fashioned advice, the empty excuses.
It's all worthless, unlike us.
To our fellow females, it is time to save ourselves by saving our money.
Contributing to our futures, investing in our independence.
Until we're no longer 80%
more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So again, we say to that, save it.
The falsehoods, the feelings of fault, then the funds.
Learn how to save for your retirement at wesaysaveit.org.
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning, and I'm partnering with the American Red Cross this year to tackle blood shortages. Giving blood's important because every 2 seconds, someone actually needs blood, and unfortunately, only like 3% of the U.S. population donates. So we have to step up to give and to make sure there's plenty of blood available for those in need. Visit redcrossblood.org to get in the game and make an appointment to give.
And in our last story, a sure sign of spring and summer. If you hadn't already heard, the Davis Family Farmers Market at Seymour Lake Park will kick off its 2024 season on Saturday, May 11th. Under new management this year by Oxford business owner Melissa Cornelis, the market will be open every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Opening day will feature more than 20 vendors, plus a food truck and an ice cream truck. Come for the vendors and stay for the fun, or even the ice cream. Love that ice cream truck idea.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And
Yeah.
you know, if you notice that, that's, what is that, the 11th, and Mother's Day is the 12th. Maybe come on, maybe come on down here with a basket. Pick up some, you know, some fresh, you know, maybe fruit. Yeah, put it in a basket and give it to mom.
Yeah, that's
And I know
a good
someone
idea.
said, and I have not had any of that over there. The honey they make over there.
Oh, really good honey.
Well, they don't make it there; they bring it there.
Well, so I know the beekeeper.
Okay.
You know Will that works here, William Julian.
Oh, right.
That's his uncle and aunt that sell it. So they're local. In fact, right on in the village. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's fun. And really, all those vendors are around here. They come from around here.
Yep.
There's an egg guy, and it's just so exciting that that's
And you know,
happening
spring
already.
and summer is right around the corner, and maybe you can put together a basket for mom for Mother's Day the next day.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think they have flowers too there.
Well, yeah, I always buy her two I buy her two sets of
flowers.
flowers, and she always says the same thing. She's like, "Jimmy, don't buy them this year," and I go, "Okay, mom, that's fine."
How come you buy two?
Because she has two places to hang baskets, okay? I mean, if she only had one, I know.
Hanging
If
flowers,
if the one rope fell off, I'd be down to one. But
Well, you're a good son.
I got to keep buying two, you know. Don't put a third one up, right?
No, yeah, leave
Anyways,
the hooks alone.
so,
Mom.
okay, I guess we haven't talked about this in a while. Before we close it out, what book we listening to now?
I'm actually listening to a true story about a group of archaeologists that discovered an unknown village in Honduras, and it's really it's an exciting book.
Is it like an Indiana Jones type thing?
Yeah, it really is.
Cool.
There's snakes and there's spiders and there's those underground guys, the drug smugglers, and oh my goodness, it's really an exciting.
What's
and
it called?
I have to
What's
say,
it called?
I've been to an island that they keep talking about. It's called In Search of the City of the Monkey Gods.
Oh, okay.
Or Ciudad Blanco, which means white city. And there's
Ciudad
always
Blanco.
been a tale of the Ciudad Blanco that it existed way up in the mountains in Honduras, and it hasn't been. It's never been touched in 600 years.
okay.
It's really exciting. So
In our
I'm in the middle
episode of
that.
What's Sherry Listening to This Week, that's what she's listening to. And if she doesn't answer your phone call when you make the call, she's probably into a good chapter. OCTV can be viewed on Spectrum Charter Channel 191, Channel 99 on the AT&T Uver system. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and even I wrote the news this week, Fire Stick, and the Roku app as well. If you have a show idea and like to volunteer, contact our studio, OCTV. Give our office a call. The number is so easy to remember, 248-628-9658. Ask for Terry or even Dave. A very special thank you to producer, director Kyle Snage, back behind the big board. News writer, she's taking tests, Allison Miller. Editor, Kyle Snage. Our programmer, Connie Miller. Station manager, Terry Stiles, who actually is a news anchor as well. For everyone here at OCTV, I'm Jim Hughes. Hoping you have a safe week. I invite you back next time, and again, we will take a look at Oxford News this week. Have a good week.
And thank you, Jim.
Thank you.